Hey guys, how's it going? Today we are going to be redoing a video. Not really, but like y'all didn't see the other one that came out, but I didn't like how it came out. And I thought I could restructure it much better so that it makes sense. Cause then I feel like I was just putting bullshit out. So hopefully this is just shit rather than bullshit, right? Part of the reason I feel like a lot of people lose early on is because, you know, especially when they get to master, right, in higher rank, they tend to misuse their resources and they'll burn out quicker, which is deadly. Like, let's say you're new to master, right? You just hit 15, you're playing against 15, 30 people that have probably been in master for a minute, so they grasp the game better and they kind of really know their characters, rather than you're still playing gimmicky shit, but more so now you're playing players, right? The characters now becoming an extension of said player to some degree. I mean, they still are super gimmicky at fucking 16 or lower. You'd be surprised, sometimes 18. With all that being said, you burn out or you lower your meter and you're put in a very shitty situation. Like, let's say you have no meter and you're supposed to burn out, or on the flip side, you have low health. You have all the meter in the world and you have like all your dry gauge, but your health is low as shit, so you really can't afford to gamble or take any more hits, right? Which, that's a whole separate case on its own. But basically what I'm gonna simply do is, right, I have every single resource in this game listed, right, from drive gauge, health, super, and time. First, we're gonna go off what I think the level of importance of each one is and why, and then we're gonna bring up offensive and defensive scenarios and why they matter in each case. So basically, for example, why does health matter on offense? Why would it matter on defense? What you should be thinking on offense and defense about say the resource, vice versa. You know what I mean? Number one most important thing is drive gauge. Without drive gauge, you can literally not play the game. I'd rather be in a position where I have half health and full drive gauge and my opponent being burned out at full health, because then even once they do regain drive gauge, we're at level, I could at least get them. I know me, like, I'm decent enough to probably get them down to half health at least. I know for a fact if my opponent's in burnout, I could at least get them to half health. I could force one interaction, get them to half health, or I could throw them a bunch. I could figure some shit out to kind of get them to where I'm at, right? And that's how I kind of play the health game, which we'll get into once we talk about health. But following right behind that, we have health. Health is the second most important thing. And how I like to look at health is more so just how many turns you have left. Like, I look at health from a mathematical standpoint. Like, I don't panic when I'm at low health for the most part. I mean, I get more concerned because I'm like, well, damn, not like depending on where my opponent's health is. And with health, how I look at it is, as long as my opponent and I are kind of close, because like with how damage runs in this game, right? Like, if my opponent and I are relatively close, I like to kind of keep it tight. Like, if my opponent gets like 4 up on me, like if I'm at like 60, right? As long as my opponent's like right here, as long as I'm like one interaction away from tying to my opponent, or I'm basically tied with my opponent, then I'm perfectly fine. Like, for example, right, one draw, we're damn near at the same spot, right? I like to kind of keep the health neck and neck. That's what I'll do. And if I'm too far behind, that's when I'll crank out super early. And that might be a misuse, but I like to take that gamble because I don't like to be down so many turns. Because then I feel like once you're down so much, your opponent just starts trying crazy shit and disrespecting the hell out of you. They trying to go for overhead drive rush while you're standing here. Like, just no respect, right? Next is super meter. Simple. So super is important for escaping the corner, saving drive gauge, because sometimes you'd rather use super meter than DPing or EX reversaling, right? And chipping out as well. So saving meter and avoiding burnout. If you don't have health or drive gauge, sometimes it's not worth using the super. I mean, if you don't have drive gauge, I mean, you have to use the super, but if you don't have enough health, then there's no point. You might as well save up till next round, especially if you're in burnout. You're already in a shitty position, right? Unless you have like an ass of health and you burned out early, which is still not recommended, because then you're not playing the game, you're playing defense. You're like on the back. Even if you do get a hit, you're only doing so much. Once your turn is over, your opponent just has to start the offense, unless you're like hitting like crazy, right? Just swinging for the fence, right? And then the last thing is time. Time is just time. I mean, I don't know, that's like the least important thing in this game. And now we're gonna reset that list and we're gonna go over each one. So how I look at drive gauge on offense is, at least with me, so on offense, once I get like right here, right, that's the point where I start to kind of, I ain't gonna say zone. Like, what I'll try to do is, if I do this and it doesn't amount to anything, like a hit, like I can't confirm it until a hit, right? I'll just draw my opponent or try to draw. Worst case, they tech, we're back here, and then I can start zoning, right? Or I can start kind of poking. And I don't call it zoning, I call it boxing, because I think zoning can kind of, you can use pokes to zone as well. I think zoning to me is just controlling space in general. So, or maybe I'm ignorant. Okay, so maybe zoning is fireball. I'm just gonna say I like to try to control space and hold it down. I think a lot of this game is just meter stalling, right? So once you get to a point where you're like, once you're low on dry gauge or you're at an uncomfortable point, then yeah, you kind of just poke. Now I will say you kind of want to practice not being low, but being comfortable in situations, because I really don't think this is that uncomfortable of a position, because you got to think, right? Unless they reversal, right? And even then, if you do a true block string, which jab is, right? This isn't. They can still like EX, or they can still reversal, right? If you do something like this, right, or you can like that, so you're still at like, you're in a good spot. You're still in the green. I feel like you're only in a problematic position once you enter orange. So orange is like when, so hold up, this is halfway. You start to go orange like there. Once you start to go orange, I think that's when you should kind of be concerned on really stalling. But I still think you're at a reasonable spot. You can still kind of play footsie, poke around. Because mind you, look how much drive gauge I'm getting like every block, right? People underestimate how quickly you gain back drive gauge. Not to say you should be going to spin it, but you don't take that long, especially the bigger the move. The game is very offensive based, so it rewards you being offensive, right? Even if you're not getting the hit, like I said, naturally you're regaining gauge. So at the point at which me as an attacker, once I get below this point, right? All right, I'm gone. I'm zoning. I'm watching for anti-airs. I'm playing ultra defensive. That's where the tables turn. Now on the defensive end, right? Like, let's say I'm defending, my opponent is right here. At the point in which they're halfway, personally, I like to try to attack them or press them or be more of the aggressor. If they're being aggressive, I might go for a whiff punish, but for the most part, I'm kind of waiting on that, because me, I don't mind if you do this, because at the end of the day, especially if you get a throw, I know I just said, well, at least you get the throw, so you can kind of whatever, but I don't give a shit if you do this, because like I said, worst case, you get the throw, but you still have way less drive gauge. You can only do so much. So now I'm gonna pressure you and borderline force you into a position where you got to either perfect parry some shit that I'm doing, or you have to reversal me as a whole. And if you reversal right 3, you're at 1 bar. Now you're definitely screwed, because now you got to play super defensive, right? And most likely you're going to be jumping, just trying to do everything. You're going to be avoiding me like plague, right? And also too, on the side note, I think I skipped this, but if your opponent's in orange, fucking all gas, no brakes, bro. Unless there's like a certain read or situation you have in your head from your opponent, bro, all gas, no brakes, bro. Not like press up on them. I was like watching replays. I was watching some replays with a couple viewers like a couple days ago, a day ago. And like one of the main things one of them was doing, bro, he was like sitting here and his opponent had 1 bar drive meter, and he just stayed out here in zone. Man, fuck that, bro. They gonna have to check my drive rush, dog. Like, and I'm saying that's a bad thing. I just think a lot of people don't know, because I think they don't understand, especially players that are newer to the game. They don't really understand the value of the burnout, because some players don't also know what to do in burnout when their opponent's on burnout too. So that's also a factor as well. Next we have health. So health, like I said, I like to keep shit tied. I really don't care to sit here and be like, oh well, health doesn't really matter to me. All I look at is health is, okay, can I afford to take this? I can only afford 1 good hit, 2 good hits. Can I afford a throw? That's how I look at it. When I'm in the corner, I just think of how many throws can I take before I kind of want to do something, right? I like to kind of get, once I get close, not in yellow, that's like 25% health, but once I'm like gearing towards it, so let's say like maybe 40-ish%, that's when I'm like, all right, kind of lock in. Depending on how close the match is. So when I'm around here, I'm lying. When I'm like maybe here, that's when I'm kind of more concerned about my throws. But like all you got to look at is health. Is we're gonna keep it simple, offense and defense. What can and can't you take? On offense, from an offensive standpoint, you got to look at, okay, what can my opponent take? How many hits? And that's just, honestly, we're not going to spend too much time on this. That just comes to knowing like what you need to get the hit, right? And I think what helps is knowing what you want to do before you do it, or knowing what you need, or not even what you need. You look at what your opponent's giving you and what combos you got to see if you could kill, or what scenario kills do you have the resources for it, right? Like if I have half drive gauge, I probably could do a combo and Luke is like maybe right here, I probably could still kill, right? But let's say I don't know. That's for you to determine. Like there will be a certain, like if I have full drive gauge and Luke is here, I definitely could kill, right? And let me just test that theory, actually, make sure I'm not tripping. All right, so see, damn near kill. Now let's try this, right? And this is no counter hit, right? Counter hit is all easy. It always kind of changes the situation, right? So I can't kill, or I'm barely like, right? I can't kill regularly. I could damn near kill, but I can't really kill, right? So let's put that right. Let's see if punish counter 60%. Or yes. So on counter hit or punish counter, this is a kill. However, it requires me to have damn near, or not even all your meter, because drive meter is kind of finicky, but I have to be able to cancel twice in order to kill him. That's how you look at it, right? Because sometimes like with drive meter, it's weird. if you still have a meter, it costs 3 meters, but like drive gauge is funky because if I have like 1 meter left, right? Or if I have like 1 bar left, I could still cancel and burn it out, which is weird. You'd think there'd be some sort of scaling for that, but there's not. So if you have at least 1 bar meter or any meter at all, you could technically like look, see? So now I know that, okay, at this point in the match, if he's not giving me anything to punish counter, then I mean, cool. But it's all about, hey, if I land the hit I want, it's over with. And that's how health really is. And that kind of goes both ways. It's kind of simple. On defense, it's mirrored. You're just kind of thinking, what can you take? Can Ryu kill here? Probably. What should I try not to get him or deny him? Okay, he's probably looking for a punish counter. If I know Ryu can kill with a punish counter at this point, I'm probably going to try to bait him out or walk in and out his range, right? Pretty simple. Next is super. Now, if you're on offense, super, is it worth using, right? Do you get special Oki? Like I know with Marissa, sometimes I would use her super early in a round because when it does, she does like fucking 50% damage using half her resources, right? So sometimes I would use her super early because her super gives you corner. Like it instantly corner carries. No matter where you are on the screen, it'll put the opponent in the corner. And I like my odds in the corner, right? I feel like I have a higher chance of, you know, mixing the opponent up. Not to mention too, sometimes, you know, and like I said, I think overall when it comes to resources, like I said, here's drive gauging being the top priority in my opinion, unless like you're gonna kill. Another thing to note with super is how close is your opponent to burn out. Like, hey, if I use the super, will they burn out? Like there's a situation where I was playing this Ken. I'll show y'all, guys. Now for some reason he decided to do that, so I responded like this. Now arguably I probably could have just punish counter and fireball, but people aren't perfect, okay? So once I noticed, like while he's in the air, because that's kind of when I look at the meter and shit. Like there's certain moments where you have to know when to look at shit, because if you're looking at meter and your opponent's down here, I ain't gonna lie, like I don't even look at the screen. If I'm in burnout, like if my opponent's certain distance, I don't even look at the screen. I'm looking at my meter, like, and I'm just autopilot. Like I'm using peripheral. I'm looking at the meter and then I'm like using my peripherals to kind of see what they do, because high low, all they can really do is high low driver. Like there's no shit they could do. Because I'm assuming I got damn near holding it, right? Might be delay jabbing in between, but we're getting off topic, right? Boom. So at this point, I know that, okay, he's about to be in burnout. Cool. I didn't continue to string because I think what I initially wanted to do was I wanted to go in, do back heavy into heavy donkey kick for the safe jump, right? But instead, I do this because now, right? So Ken's level 1 is a side switch. So had I not done that and went for the safe jump, right? He could have parried it if he was really thugging like that. But there's a slight chance that, and I'm pretty sure the safe jump wouldn't have taken everything. Like, I probably would have shimmy, but who knows at this point what I was thinking, because it was days ago. But let's say I did the safe jump and he did level 1 after that, right? Or I mistimed the safe jump, let's say. Hits me with level 1 side switches. Now he's in a better position in the corner. He now still has his drive gauge, even though he barely has any. He's still close to burnout. I think, like I said, looking at our health, I probably would have won either way, right? But I'm in a more favorable position to win because he's still in the corner and he's in burnout. And let's say he did use the level 1 right now on wake up, right? I'm fine with that because now you're in burnout with no resource. So like I said, you see how this scenario is better by me deciding, okay, hey, fuck his health, fuck the Optimicano, fuck the setup I want, right? I burn him out. He's in the corner. And like I said, even if he decides to use level 1, he's screwed. And let's say he's almost at level 2, right? If I don't instant stun right here, like I did. He's almost at level 2, right? He gets to level 2, even if he spins it even better. You just spent 2 meter. If he spins 1 or 2 meter, regardless, better. Now he'd be spin 1 in that scenario if possible, just off the simple fact that, yeah, he could still have another one to save himself, right? And that's how we go into it on the defensive end, right? When you're in burnout, that's when meter's the most important to me. Meter's important for killing and burnout, avoiding burnout, any burnout scenario, right? Because then you're looking at your opponent and you look at yourself, you're like, okay, damn, I'm in a position in the corner. I could wake up here, or I could just buffer in between strings and hopefully get something going. Like I said, you're in the corner and burnout, you're already in a bad situation. But even then, let's say you want to, let's take it a step further and say you want to try to save drive gauge yourself, save your drive gauge, right? Like this Ken, let's say he's getting beat up in the corner, right? Outside of burnout. He's about to be in burnout. I personally would rather use level 1 than be in burnout in the corner in any position or predicament anyways. Being in burnout in the corner is bad anyways, because you're liable to get stunned, and then that's easy damage, especially if you don't have the health, or you know you don't have the health to take a full stun combo. If you're about to kill, you know, you can use your super to chip out and burn out, but that's pretty simple. That goes both ways. You also have to look at that too, based on, okay, shit, I'm in chip kill. Like he could use level 3, 2, 1 to kill me. Like Ryu, he doesn't need engine, but it does more damage, right? Ryu's level 1. If he throws a fireball while you're in burnout, the block stun is long enough to where he can draw out another one and you can't do shit about it. But he could draw his super. If you get hit by his fireball while you're in burnout, he could throw out his super charged with danger or regular too, and then now you're dead, right? Now every situation varies differently from character to character, but you got to get the point I'm trying to make. You also should be looking. Oh damn! You also should be looking at it like, damn, I'm in burnout, and be aware that your opponent might try to chip you. So back up and really stall for meter or stall to, like, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you're fucked, but hey, I mean, is what it is. And the next one is time. So time is really simple. I'm not gonna go over the offensive and defensively. All right, simple as this. If you notice the time is running out, because I believe that if you play this game to try to win, like if you come with the intent of trying to win, timing somebody out, I think that is some hoe ass shit. If you're a Jamie and you sweep a nigga and then you run back and you, like, I played a Jamie that just kept doing this, and I'm like, bro, what the fuck? And then I realized it, and I just like made sure to hound him enough to where, all right, cool. I caught up to him, got a hit, and then left his ass alone and had him come chase me back down here. I just sat here and waited. And I might have, I think I still lost. I might have won. I don't know. I can't remember. I dead ass don't remember. But let's just say I lost. Regardless, though, I think I won that round. The fact of the matter is, if you play with this game with the intent, if your main strategy is to, oh shit, I'm gonna time somebody out, you need to come up with a new strategy, brother. I don't know what it's like. I ain't gonna say it's terrible. I don't like to call nobody trash terrible. Well, out of anger, yeah, but I mean, genuinely though, I don't like to call nobody trash at all. I don't think that's cool at all. But nah, nigga, that strategy's ass. I ain't gonna say you trash. Your strategy is shit. You need to learn how to actually play the game, bro. And I know that's coming from me, but like, I'm just saying, bro, if I'm sitting here, even to me, if I'm sitting here with the goal of timing you out, stalling is one thing. Trying to time out, and I know players that do that, and they rarely win. And the thing with this game, it's so hard to do that because damage is so high, you will accidentally kill somebody. And if both players are actively engaging in combat, they're not going to notice that shit. They're actively playing footsies trying to hit each other. They're not going to notice shit about the time. That's why I say time is irrelevant unless it's running low. Like I say, if you're like a Dawson or a Zoner or a Gal, I kind of understand timing people out. But like, even then though, it's like, that shouldn't be your main strategy. If it happens, it happens. Because I've had matches, but at the point in which time is running low, all you got to do is worry about having the most health. So like I said, if you're on offense, you have the most health, cool. If not, the other person does, press up. If you don't know, that's even worse. Yeah, you bet somebody better get it a defining hit so you can kind of see the slight difference. Does it work? Let's say we're by. I don't know. Now, I ain't gonna lie, I have a pretty good, I think I'm up, but maybe because I'm delusional, right? But I personally think that I could see me being up right there. Like, I know that I'm up. It's just confidence because I'm a dog. But like, some people ignore my delusionalness, my delusion, right? That looks mighty close. So you don't want to chance that. Even in like grand finals, I think it was before the reset, Boost versus Punk, it won off a timeout and it was so close they couldn't tell. I mean, I could see that Boost was up and Punk got timed out, but in a match, you really don't fucking know. So with me, I just like to tell myself I'm up unless I'm not. And it's like, all right, cool. But yeah, unless you're trying to lane somebody out, I don't know. The only thing I can say with time is just keep in mind, you don't really, I guess, need to be rushing your opponent if you're up and time is in your favor, kind of, or just in general, knock your opponent. But then again, I feel like I said, if your offense is going, I think you're both playing to get a hit. Once you get a hit, you start running your offense. Like, nobody's going to hit you and then, oh shit, or nobody's going to like stop their pressure and then run away. Like that's weird unless you just walk. Like, I don't know, bro. Like I said, time, least important resource to me. But yeah, that's the video. It's like 27 minutes. I'm gonna have a fun time editing. Hopefully we can cut this down to like 20. Yeah, thank y'all so much for watching. If y'all have any video ideas, please let me know, because it's hard coming up with these now, because like, it's only so much you can do that everybody's already done in so many different ways and perspectives to share. So like, for example, footsies, I wanted to read the footsies handbook, but like, to see if it made my footsies better, that shit, I might do that. But like, there's already people that did that on YouTube. I feel like there's so many people that have already done so many things. So if y'all have like a different idea or perspective, or if y'all want to see more funny videos, like maybe I do one thing I hate about every character in this fucking game, I don't know what direction to go in. You know, I'm trying to be helpful. Like, I think I want to post some gameplay at some point, but like I said, right now we're just kind of winging it, but I'm trying my best. That's why also it's taking a little longer to post some of these, because I'm trying to think a good idea. Like, even then I reshot this could have came out this morning, but I reshot it because I filmed it the night before, the morning before, and I didn't like how it came out. I feel like I rushed it because one, it was early in the morning, like 5 o'clock, and two, I'm like, bro, I don't know. But yeah, thank y'all so very, very much for watching. I'm out. So I'm over here ranting when we're at the 29-minute mark. Peace.